What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Popcorn Chicken, our new segment that we've been teasing for a while. It is unscripted and it is explicit, so if you got kids, cover their ears. We're going to go full out on our very first episode. It's going to be about Moonknight, the DisneyPlus series. We're going to do an episode 1 breakdown in all its glory, but I'm going to bring in a couple of knights here of my own. Gonna bring my friend Nathan and Justin. Our production level has gone up, folks, just by that. Is that what was that you're talking about?
The thing
okay,
I bought,
awesome.
yeah.
That is awesome. That is money well wasted.
I bought 3 of them.
You bought 3 of them. All right, gentlemen. Thanks for coming on today. It is going to be a good one today. We all watched the Disney Plus Moonknight episode 1, and I can't wait to get into this. But it's our first time for Nathan, our buddy Nathan. Justin, this is his first time on, and Nathan, for everybody who's watching, tell them about yourself a little bit. What do you do at A&R? What do you do in life?
At A&R, I usually work with social media, with marketing, kind of a lot of the behind the scenes stuff. So this is my first time actually being in front of the camera. And outside of A&R, I actually study the ancient Mediterranean world. And that ranges from Greece, Rome, and of course, Egypt.
Yes, and that is why we plucked you for today's episode, because you're our specialist. So me and Justin say something wrong or pronounce something wrong, you can correct us.
When we say something.
When, yes, we will 100% get something wrong. Is it Anubis or Anuba? All right.
Nubich.
Oh, there you go. See, it's explicit already.
The alternate pronunciation.
Multi-universe. Here we go. We got a beverage in our hands, so we're good. Let's break it down.
What are you drinking,
here.
Elvin?
I am drinking the Starlight zero sugar drink, which is
topical.
Very, very nice and refreshing.
Yeah.
It's out of this world.
What does it taste like? Give me a review.
It tastes like moon dust.
Moon dust. That's how you describe it? You have to be like...
Okay, if you want to know. Okay, it's a cross between cream soda and vanilla Coke.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's very flavorful, but not overpowering. You know what I mean? It's not like in your face. It's a subtle, but it tastes great. Like I don't know.
I'm gonna get it now because
Nathan,
I love both of those flavors.
Nathan, you drank it, right?
I did. It was great. I had it. I looked up the description and it was strange. They said it was like, you have it and you get this cooling sensation. I did not experience at all, but it did taste really good.
In your bloodstream.
I was thinking, I was the way they described it. I was thinking of like when you put on aftershave and it's that cooling feeling. I was thinking something like that, but no, not at all. But it was good though.
Chew 5 gum.
Yeah, musk for men. All right, let's get into this thing.
Nathan, what are you drinking? Come on.
I'm drinking just a Diet Coke. Nothing special.
Yeah, nothing special. That's why I didn't want to talk about it. Just drinking nothing special.
I'm double fisting. I've got a Aha, which is Coke's version of like a bubbly or buble. And I got some, it's a Jameson's, the coffee, it's a coffee barrel aged whiskey.
I love that Glencairn glass. That's a good glass.
Hell yeah.
That's such an odd pairing.
You're not wrong. But
it cleanses the palate.
Works, right? Yeah, there you go. Resets itself.
It doesn't. At all.
Can we now get into the show?
Okay.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
You're not gonna ask us what we got?
Oh no, that's an A&R Weekly. This is not A&R Weekly. This is Popcorn Chicken.
All right,
we do things differently here. I need to get Popcorn Chicken next time.
We immediately fucked it up.
Totally forgot to get the chicken this time.
I have popcorn.
Okay, that's great.
I didn't think ahead.
Disney Plus, man, they dropped the episode last night. Did you guys watch it when it came out? Well, I know Justin didn't.
I watched it 45 minutes ago.
Nathan, when did you watch it?
I watched it midday today. I watched it on my laptop, high res, I had my AirPods in and dialed everything else out and just got to enjoy the episode.
That's awesome.
Nice.
You're in the zone, right?
I was in the zone. I was so excited for this. I have been, for everyone that follows ANR on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, I've been posting stuff about Moonknight. I've been excited for this and actually getting to watch it. You could kind of guess my reaction already, but getting to finally sit down and watch it, I was just thrilled.
That's awesome. Yeah, Justin, I know while we're kind of blabbing away here, maybe put up some images if you can of the actual scenes in the movie.
Sure.
If you can, that'd be appreciative. We can kind of walk through some of the scenes or pictures that we see. But yeah, I watched it at 12:01 in the morning. I was up. I'm like, I need to watch this. And then I watched it this morning with a cup of tea. And then I watched it again just a couple hours ago with my wife because she loves Egyptian stories and things like that. She's a huge Brendan Fraser fan of the Mummy movies. And so I'm like, I told her, I'm like, hey, you like Egyptian stuff? And she's like, yeah, I do. I'm like, okay, watch this thing. And then so she started watching and she liked it. She said she'll carry on and watch it, which is like a big plus for me because she's not mad at me for doing the podcast on a Wednesday when I just did one on a Monday. So she's like, sure, go ahead.
Fine.
I'm like, I gotta do it for the people. They want to hear me. No, they don't. Okay, so beginning, we get Ethan Hawke right off the bat in the episode, and the character that he has is Arthur Harrow. I believe is Arthur Harrow. It's not a well-known Moon Knight character. It's more of a deeper cut character, and I'm surprised they went this way. But if they had given us a main big villain of his, then it would probably ruined his theatrical version that's going to be coming out down the road. So I guess they're playing it safe right now. They're building up this story and this character, so they went with something deep cut. What did you guys think of Ethan Hawke's opening scene? That was pretty crazy, right? He just went from drinking a couple of and then went crazy. He got too drunk, I think. Is that what drunk people do? They smash a bottle and put it in their feet?
Yes.
Cool.
Every single time? No.
No, I thought that was like a right when that happened. I was like, "What is somebody getting married? What is this? A Jewish wedding or what?" I was like, "All right,
Mazel tov."
Mazel tov." Oh no, it's not. Okay.
Nathan, do Egyptians do this? Any of the gods?
If they do, it's not something that I'm familiar with. But it certainly captures your attention right off the bat. At first, it's nice and calm. You're watching, and then all of a sudden, takes a glass, smash, and takes it out, puts it in his sandals, and you get to hear that crunch of the glass up against the skin. And I was thinking, is he bleeding? Is he walking around?
Yeah.
Is this? Why are they doing this? Is this to cause pain? It immediately gets your attention.
So the comic book version of Arthur, he's born with a genetic disorder that he wants to feel pain. So that's where that's the reason why he's doing this. From the comics, that's his trait, that he has this genetic condition that he wants to feel pain. The other thing about the character, which they haven't mentioned yet, and they kind of hinted, and I'll talk about it the part where he does hint it, is the comic book character is also a Nazi.
I did not see that coming.
Yeah. So yeah, he has a genetic disorder that he likes to feel pain, and he's a Nazi. Now I don't know if they're gonna talk or build on the Nazi, because MCU likes to change characters' backgrounds a little bit and some of their powers sometimes. So I don't know if they're gonna hit on the Nazi point at all, but there was a little bit of a hint towards the middle of the show that sort of like made me think, okay, maybe he is going to do this because he is a bit of a crazy person. So yeah, so that's the reason why he's putting this, smashed up the glasses and put it in his feet to feel pain. It gives him some sort of pleasure from it, I guess. I don't know.
It's a masochist.
Yeah. There you go. What did you think about Oscar Isaac, right off the bat when you got to see him in the first couple of minutes?
I was very impressed with his accent throughout the whole thing. And then near the middle of it, I think I figured out what he's doing. Because he nailed it the entire episode. There was no parts that he didn't that he had a weak bit or whatever. But I think right about the scene when he's in the cupcake truck, a lot of his mannerisms, I was like, oh, he's just doing a Martin Freeman impression. Because like every little bit of him like awkwardly like running around and being like, oh, sorry. It was just like, oh, that's a Martin Freeman thing. But you
want to explain to the audience who Martin Freeman is?
Martin Freeman, he was in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. He was in Sherlock Holmes. He was in, I mean, it's not a good example because he doesn't have his normal accent, but he was in Fargo. He was, what's the guy's name? Sherlock and Dr. Watson?
Watson, he was also he was also in Black Panther, was he not?
Was he?
Wasn't he in The Hobbit as well?
Yeah.
That's
what he would be known for.
I thought he was. Yeah, he was in Black Panther.
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't know. I didn't remember that.
But
it's also like from The Office and.
Yeah, he's a great good actor. I like him a lot. So we get Oscar Isaac's character. It is, which character is it? Is Mark or is Steven? It was Steven
with a V.
It was Steven that wakes up, right? And you see him chained up to his bed. You see sand around his bed.
Mm-hmm.
You see blue painter's tape on his door. And you see his goldfish buddy Gus bobbling around. I thought, out of all the things, it was weird. I don't know why. I just thought the sand around the bed was weird. I was like, there's got to be an explanation for this. Is it to keep Khonshu away from Steven?
I think it was literally just to track if he did get out of bed.
Yeah, I thought that too.
Because he was. Yeah, I thought it was like something deeper too. But then when he was just like refilling the sand, I was like, oh, this is just to, like, when he gets up to look around to see if anything came at him or vice versa, or if he left or tried to get out.
Nathan, you're our Egyptian specialist here.
Egyptianologist.
Yes.
No, I think that this is just as Justin said. I place it around his bed so he can go back and forth, and he'll be able to see his footprints in the sand. Egypt's filled with sand. It's not overly sacred.
It's pretty rare stuff.
Hey, I'm gonna take a bag of those when I go to Egypt. Okay, taking it home with me. Put it in my flower pot. So he wakes up. He's obviously trying to figure out why he's always sleepy. He's sleeping in the bus, getting to his work. Right? He's constantly sleeping, but he doesn't understand why. He's confused. He's acts weird. Talks to his mom, very nice by the way, but he's on the voicemail. Like, I don't know why. All the times that he's talking to his mom, it's always on a voicemail. So, is his mom still alive? What's going on there? Does a mom even exist? Like, it's so weird, right?
I have a feeling she doesn't exist because from the comics, it's Marc Spector is the original one, the original man.
Yeah.
So I think Steven has created this idea of who his mom is, and he keeps calling her and giving updates, and it's very sweet, his phone calls. When you get to hear them, you're like, oh, this is a good son. He's kind. He's a little off, but it's very relatable. Everyone's got little quirks about them, and you kind of feel bad for him a bit too, I find.
So I'm completely in the dark about this series. So Steven is not the original, like not the person who owns the body. I guess this is
I can just quickly tell you. So in the comics, he's got multiple personalities, right? But I think for the MCU, they're only focusing on two. They're focusing on Mark and Steven. Mark is the dominant of the characters inside his head. Mark is the one Khonshu, the god, the moon god, is aligned up with, because Mark was a former CIA agent. He's more adapted to do the things Khonshu needs him to do. And so that's the primary person that Khonshu wants to align himself with in that body. Steven, I think, is an offspring of Marc to shut it down, because I think at some point Marc wants to kind of
protect himself, kind of.
Yeah, and also to like shut it down for a while. I don't want to be Khonshu's little, bitch the entire time, when I'm alive. But speaking of being alive, he's actually dead. He actually died.
We kind of got that.
Yeah, Marc died.
Hint from that little girl when he gets to the.
What's interesting about this is they don't go and do an origin story off the bat. They're gonna sprinkle. I get the feeling they're gonna sprinkle flashbacks and things here and there to give you the full scope of what happened to Marc from the beginning. So which is
every
cool.
time he goes into a back to tank.
Back to tank. Oh God.
That motherfucker gets in a bath. I'm skipping ahead. Like, nope.
Well, he has to take a shower. Come on.
Yeah, he's gonna get in a bath. There's gonna be sand people again.
Sand people? You mean Tusken Raiders?
Yeah.
Bunch of Tusken Raiders show up, right, with Khonshu.
Yep.
They do a TikTok video together. So getting back to this, it's interesting because I personally like it when they sprinkle in flashbacks here and there, as long as they don't overdo it. It kind of gets annoying when you're continuously doing it for like every episode. Give it to me when I need that, right? So his backstory is he's dead. He was revived at the pyramids by Khonshu. Khonshu made a deal with them, said, hey, listen, I'll revive you, but you're gonna be my avatar, not the blue people. You're gonna
that
be.
That was a good line.
Not the anime either.
Not the anime. Yeah.
You're gonna be my vehicle in this realm, because Khonshu is stuck in a state of a realm that he cannot access this current universe. So he needs a conduit, and Marc Spector is his conduit. So he likes it when Marc Spector's around because Marc will get shit done. He absolutely hates it when Steven is around, and you can hear that and you can see that in the episode where he's like, oh, not this bumbling idiot, like, where's the Marc? Get Marc out of here, right? Did you guys like how the director and how the show decided to do the swapping, or the little shaking of the camera and the effect to let us know that they're switching characters now? Did you guys like that, or did you find it could have done it better?
I liked it. I thought it was a good indication without revealing too much. I didn't really want a big change. I liked the idea that Steven was unaware of what was going on. So for nearly the entire episode, we didn't actually get to see that other side during the switch. We just saw him have that weird moment, and then all of a sudden things have changed around him, and he doesn't know why. And I like that. It keeps that level of mystery about for most of the episode.
Yeah, I think having it kind of, instead of just like, oh, now he's fucking Jason Bourne, and then just like kills everyone, and you're like, why is he a badass now? But having that kind of like him black out and then just everyone's dead, and you're like, shit, okay, well, and keeping you on the same level as him, and like on the same level of in the dark of like what's going on, and especially a lot of the times when he like comes back too, and the fucking van's just turned around going backwards, and he's got a gun in his hand. There was some good like, oh shit, okay.
Oh, and when he threw the gun, love that. That was good.
Did he just throw the gun?
Oh my god, what an idiot, right?
Yeah.
What about the fact? Okay, let me ask you something. Is it a coincidence that he works in an Egyptian museum? Of all the jobs he could have, Marc could give Steven a job anywhere. Why an Egyptian museum?
I think that was probably his choice, and that was a subconscious choice because
Whose choice?
Steven's. I think that was probably just he has something in his head of interest. Like, I mean, it's not his brain technically, and there's all this knowledge and obviously passion for that area of expertise. So he probably was just like, I would like to work here. I, for some reason, feel like I have interest here, and. Yeah, so it's probably just like a subconscious calling to it.
Well, the British Museum also is has one of the largest collections of Egyptian artifacts outside of Egypt.
Bam! I knew there's a reason why we brought you on. Look at you go!
They're one of the best museums in the world in terms of having vast collection of items. Their Egyptian
stole the
wing-
most shit.
No, I
from
was
the-
just gonna say a vast collection of stolen goods anywhere around.
But their Egyptian wing's just one part of it, and they also have some very famous artifacts like the Rosetta Stone, which is what they use to eventually translate hieroglyphs. So being able to be in that environment as kind of a plot device was great because there's tons of merchandise. Obviously, you're a big museum in London. You're gonna want to sell a lot of stuff. It's a beautiful area, and they've got some incredible artifacts. It was a perfect place to have them, both for the plot and.
I'm wondering if the reason why he works in a museum there is because somehow or some way they need his connections in the Egyptian museum to get some artifacts. Because there's got to be some stuff in that museum that Khonshu and Marc probably want, right? To further whatever their role is, whatever Khonshu's thing is. Because Khonshu is an what is the best way to describe the god Khonshu, Nathan?
He's a moon god, but he's also, if you go early enough in Egyptian history, he's a very aggressive, violent god. He's
like some revenge, right?
Yeah,
he wants to get revenge.
Very much a vengeful god, and he changes a bit in Egyptian history, but that still sticks around, and we kind of get to see that a little bit here. He's this kind of scary-looking god. He was known to, I believe, kill other gods or eat their hearts. So he's certainly someone that you don't want to mess with.
He's the son of the sun god Atum, right?
Need to check on that. There's multiple sun gods, which makes Egyptian history that a little bit more confusing.
Well, based on my awesome wiki research, he is the son of Atum, and we'll talk about some of the gods because he does mention it in the episode. He's his particular amount of gods. That the MCU version of the gods is a little bit changed compared to the history of Egypt, the gods that they talk about.
Yeah, they've taken some creative liberty. They did the same thing with a lot of like Norse stuff.
Yeah, they made some minor tweaks here and there. There are some connections to Black Panther from these gods as well. So that's pretty interesting. Okay, so he wakes up, and this is the beginning part of when we start seeing him traveling outside of his house in London. He wakes up in a grass field, and I immediately am like, is that bad CGI or what is going on with that chin? Right, that is some.
I noticed that too.
Yeah, right.
There were a few bits where.
Okay. Hold on. I know you're gonna go there. I'm glad you said that. But that chin was dislocated, and he had to pop it back in. Right, he looked like he got messed up. My theory is he jumped off the tower.
Oh yeah, no, he came out of that window,
and he hit head first into that ground.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, he came out of that window because like he looks up and there's like all the window there and it's broken around it and the dude's just looking out and then he's like, oh yeah, all right, yeah. The guy waves back.
And his buddy's like, what are you doing, you idiot?
What are you doing?
Just imagine yourself in that scenario though. You see someone jump out of a window, you go out, look at them, and they just look up at you and wave.
All right.
Oh my god, it's so good. And we know why he was there. He went to steal that garb beetle, I believe it is called.
Yeah,
Scarab.
Scarab beetle. There you go. I knew your order was correct. And Justin was right. It's like right off. What is that?
Whoa!
Oh, I got this.
Whoa.
I got this in the British Museum.
Hey!
It's a scarab. They're actually it's arguably one of the most important symbols in all of Egyptian mythology. The scarab. They represent everything from life,
Flying beetles.
death, flying beetles, regeneration. But the big symbol they have is the sun, because the scarab beetles in the desert, they'd roll dung, and so the Egyptians thought, they'd roll the sun across the sky.
That's cool.
And so it represents everything from life, death, transformation, rebirth, that sort of thing.
Cool.
So more important than the Sphinx?
Oh yes. This is the most important symbol in Egyptian mythology. One of the top 2 or so, and there's a lot of them.
So were you upset when you saw him holding it and doesn't know what it is? You're like, you idiot! How do you not know this? Everybody knows this.
He works in a museum.
Yeah.
And
Steven, come on.
And he seemed quite knowledgeable too at the start, but I think he was just in shock a bit. He just fell out of a window and hit his head. And then he sees this golden beetle for some reason in his hand. But I was.
And then people start shooting at him.
I was wondering, where do you guys think he was? What country?
The Alps.
The Alps? Like Switzerland or Germany?
Kind of looked Swissish, but I was looking at the signs to see if I could see any language or anything, but no, I didn't notice any.
I'm just trying to think. That scene was like, you know, the way he jumped out of there, like, how does he survive that crash, that landing? Like, does he have powers? Because he turns into Moonknight, right? He doesn't have it on him the entire time, but does that mean that he's protected by Khonshu no matter what happens? Like, will a bullet hurt him?
He's technically already dead.
I think in his... Well, yeah, that's true.
Sorry, say that again?
Oh, he's technically already dead because he died once. So there might be some sort of mystical abilities that he has.
Immortal bits, yeah.
Interesting. Because I was just thinking, I'm like, this guy just jumped off a tower and landed head first, and he just shook it off, adjusted his jaws, like, all right. And this is Steven. It's not even Mark, right? This is Steven. So I was just like, okay, all right. So there's something about this powers that probably is still around him, or Khonshu's protecting him, you know, from the other plane, just having a shield around him or something, which kind of goes into our next thing because he's getting shot at. I'm wondering if the god is powerful enough to protect him from bullets, but maybe not, right? Maybe
he doesn't have to, because again, yeah, he's already dead. So, okay.
But
so
why is he telling them to run though?
I think maybe he wasn't shot because of plot armor.
Boo.
I know, not the most exciting reason I know.
So yeah, he's getting chased. He gets get to the city area, Cobblestone City. I don't know where this is. Where is this? Do you know what location it is? Anybody?
I'm looking. Yeah. It's a. Okay, so it was probably Switzerland or Germany, because in the background I just have the thing, the episode pulled up again, and actually wait a minute, I have the technology to share my screen.
Technology, yes.
Oh wait, I can't. It won't let me show the screen. Anyway, there's a store there, because DisneyPlus has DMCA, or not DMCA, things that don't allow you to stream their platform. Anyway, it says bakery, but it's B-A with the umlauts, which is German for bakery. So there is German writing on the stores.
Okay. So somewhere in Austria or Germany.
Yeah, or Switzerland, or...
I'm putting my money on Austria.
It could be Switzerland as well, because they also speak German there.
Yep. And I saw a lot of rolling hills and castles and shit.
Yeah.
And there's a here, this I can share.
Austria has mountains and castles too.
Not like this.
No?
These are like Swiss Alps.
Okay.
Like fairy tale shit. Austria's got castles, but they're like Gothic
Elsa's
cathedrals.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly.
No. Frozen, no. Oh, I hate Frozen so much.
We've struck a nerve here.
Frozen's plot is just backwards. The heroes of the story was the bad guy. But sorry, I won't go into this now.
It's like Peter Pan. Have you heard that theory?
That
No.
Captain Hook's trying to rescue the kids from Peter Pan?
Yeah, because Peter Pan keeps kidnapping all these kids, and if you notice, Captain Hook never goes after the kids. He just tries to fuck up Peter Pan because he keeps kidnapping children.
Damn. Damn, mind blown. Mind blown.
Yeah.
Man.
Just destroy my childhood right there.
Crazy. That's crazy. Anyways, I don't know where we're going with that, but cool. We went from mountains to Peter Pan. That's awesome.
We were going through Disney
that is
plot
awesome.
armor.
That is awesome. How we went from all the way to that. So he gets into the city there, or the little village, and there's a bunch of people in the place, and Ethan Hawke's character Arthur walks by, and gently walks by like a disciple would walk by, right? Walks, and
immediately
he's surrounded by his disciples, I guess, right?
Followers,
and then they all congregate around him, and he starts doing something weird. Nathan, can you explain to me what he's doing? Is this make believe here, or is this actually something?
The actual act of what he's doing, that ceremony, is created by Disney. However, it's trying to reflect something that the Egyptians actually believed in, which was that at the end of your life, your soul is placed on a scale so your soul's on one side, and on the other side is the feather of, I think her name's Maat, or Ma'at, and it is basically to see
Amat, right? Is it Amat?
It's M-A, A-T. It's weird because no one technically knows what Egyptian sounds like, so we kind of give our best guesses.
Because they pronounce it Amet, A-M-M-I-T. That's how they pronounced it.
That's another goddess. That's
okay.
There's so many gods. But Ma'at, the feather Ma'at, is weighed against your soul, and if it's found that you're not worthy, then not Ma'at, but the goddess who we see, what was it, Amut?
Amit, yeah. Amit or something like that.
Yeah. She devours you and your soul, and when she does that, your soul's kind of wanders blindly, aimlessly. It's not good. You don't actually get to go onto the field of reeds. And so that's kind of it looks like that's what he
was doing, right? Because
Yeah.
he had the moving tattoo, which is pretty cool, by the way. Justin, you should get those tattoos. They move. They're awesome.
Yeah, I got a guy.
Yeah, you got a guy. So first guy steps up. He's good. He's just a green thumbs up. He's good. Lady steps up, world lady, and something crazy happens to her. She's basically denied. She has what did you call it, Nathan? Unpure heart.
Yeah, she's unworthy. She's
unworthy.
She's been judged unworthy.
And he sucks her soul? Because she was like grayish and dead real fast.
Yeah, it looked like that. I don't know if. Oh, do we have an image here?
Ethan Hawke.
He looks
not of the old lady, but
he looks badass.
Does he
not look badass? I like this dude. I love Ethan Hawke. He's awesome.
That was good casting.
Yeah.
He just walks in.
I especially like the cane. And Justin, do you think we could get an image of the cane?
Yeah.
I believe it was crocodiles, which is the symbol of the goddess that he's serving. Yeah.
So she's half crocodile, half lion, right?
Yeah. It's kind of odd. She's got like a crocodile head, and then the back part is more feline. Yeah, and that's obviously how she devours people.
Aren't you proud of me that I found that out?
That was quite good.
There you go. Take that, Justin. I do my homework. Where are you? There you are.
The cane there.
So, okay. There it is. Yeah. Two crocodile heads, right? That looks badass. Look at that.
Yeah.
That's great. I love how they designed it so that way it not only represents the goddess, but it also is in the shape of of the scales.
The scales. Yeah.
That's so cool, right? I want that as a prop.
We'll get
Disney,
that for the
make it
office.
happen. Please make that happen, Disney. That's so cool. It'd be awesome if the alligator mouths open up too.
Knock on wood. Maybe that will happen.
That would be so cool. Like he's devouring like that. All right, so he is our buddy Isaac. Steven is in the crowd, and he yells out something in Egyptian, and everybody bows down. Right? Mm-hmm. Was that horse crap or was that actual Egyptian language?
I have no idea. That is not something.
Pay you the big bucks here.
Technically, no one knows how to speak Egyptian, ancient Egyptian. So if that was a guess, that was Disney's interpretation of a word. That's not something that anyone would know. But it was hilarious to see he yelled out that word, and Steven just went like, "Oh shit!" and then immediately went down after.
No, sorry, yep. I think he said bollocks.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
he did.
bollocks.
Bollocks. And then so he gets busted. They want the beetle from him, so he obviously stolen it from them. He wants it back, and he's can't do it. His mind wants to, but his body won't let him. Right? Won't let him give that because Khonshu's obviously Khonshu behind him in the picture there. Khonshu's basically controlling him, and he just can't do it. So they jump him. A bunch of guys jump him, Steven. And they try to carry him away, and a guy comes out of nowhere and tries to grab the beetle out of his hand and succeeds, like gets it out of his hand, and all of a sudden the shakes happen. The shake happens, and you see him standing there by himself with guys on the floor, all bloodied up. He's got blood on his hands and also on the beetle, and that was because Marc came into play and shit kicked everybody. And yeah, so are you not like? I was kind of like, can I see Marc kick some ass, please? Like, I want to see Marc kick some ass.
I think
were you guys happy to see that, or were you like, damn it, I wanted to see Marc kick some ass?
Well, you do in the end, but again, like you didn't really know what was happening, so you didn't know if it was just like him blacking out and then killing everyone, or if he was doing the transformation thing into something else, or if he just blacks out and then somebody around him just comes in and...
Well, I would have liked to see that shake happen, and then Marc would come into the body, or the conscience of Marc would awaken, and then I wanted to see him kick everyone's ass. Yeah, that would have been hilarious.
We do at the end, but...
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we do in a way, yes.
I think we'll start seeing that a bit more maybe during the next couple episodes. I think this first episode, they're trying to build up the idea of he really has no idea what's going on, and they try and make the audience feel the same way. I personally, I thought it was quite nice. But did you also notice that the beetle, the wings came out after the fight?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Yeah. When he was holding it, yeah, the wings.
What does that mean? Does that mean anything?
It basically it's the same thing as before. I assume that this maybe it was a weapon, because why else would the wings just come out during the fight?
Or was it came out after because he fed it blood?
That's true. That could be it.
Because it was covered in blood afterwards.
That's interesting. What I gather from the reason, what the purpose of this thing is to show the directional point of a tomb that they're looking for. That's what I've been the information I gather. That's the storyline. That's why Ethan Hawke's character Arthur wants it, because it's supposed to find the tomb of Amet or Amit, whatever you want to call it. So that's what he is looking to do, and I think maybe. Justin, you're onto something. I think maybe they need him to unlock it, right? To get access to this. There's got to be a reason why both sides want this thing.
Oh my gosh. This is giving such Indiana Jones vibes. They're looking for a golden item that also has a scarab on it, because in Indiana Jones, in Raiders, it had a scarab on it as well, and they're going to use that to find a tomb. Well, I guess they're both Disney.
All he needs is a hat and a whip, and you got it going on. Right? Can you imagine?
Why did it have to be Ethan Hawke?
So yeah, he runs to a cupcake van, which is hilarious, by the way.
That's my van.
Yeah, cupcake van, and they're going down the Swiss Alps, shall we call it?
Sure.
And the goons are chasing him, and there's guns, people jumping on to a vehicle, but there's also a little nice lady that's driving, and I think she stole the show for me in terms of comic relief, because she is basically driving and this guy wants to cut her. He does cut her. He's like, "Oh, thank you," and then she's just like, "Whoop."
Also, while playing, what song was playing in the background? It was
Was it Wham? It was by Wham, right?
It was Wham, yeah.
Wake Me Up before you go.
Wake Me Up.
Yeah, it was Wake Me Up, yeah.
Such an awesome song.
They did the humor really good in this. It didn't feel out of place, and even the songs that they chose, the soundtrack for a lot of it was very fitting. Still kind of goofy, but not like slapsticky, and it didn't take the like intensity or the darkness of the theme of the overall episode when they did have those kind of funny, goofy moments playing fucking Wham, having some old lady flipping the bird out of a truck. It was still like fairly serious and like, oh shit, like this is about a guy with mental health problems. Like it didn't get too goofy, which was impressive that they were able to put those comedic bits and still keep the severity of the situations and stuff.
The one song that I found really odd is the Jay-Z one. Okay, Big Pimpin'.
When did that come out?
That was when he was just... Remember in the beginning where he walks to the statue to talk to the guy in the golden statue? He's walking out of the museum and they're playing that song.
Oh, really? I didn't notice that.
Big Pimpin', and they remix it. They remix it with no words on it, right? And I was just like, that's such an odd song, but it's a good song. It's just an odd song. Odd song to play.
Yeah, it fit because I didn't even notice it. It just fell into the background.
Okay, so he's getting chased, guns. He switches back and forth. All of a sudden, the vehicle is going backwards, but there's a dead body in the back too, as well.
Yeah,
smothered with cupcakes on one side.
Sorry about the cupcakes. Yeah, that was that whole scene, like him apologizing, and I was like, this is Martin Freeman. It's just Martin Freeman bumbling around.
What did you guys think about the CGI? Because I thought that was weak.
Yeah, it was kind of dodgy in some spots, but then I had to remember, I was like, this is...
Sorry, how about the truck? The logging truck? That was cringe. I was like, am I watching a DisneyPlus show?
Yeah, well, I mean... If you go
it was
with
bad.
like,
you have to admit it was bad.
Yeah, no, it wasn't good. But like, you can't put it to the same standard as Star Wars, because I mean, even Star Wars had some janky bits in like the first season of Mandalorian. The blurgs looked like fucking garbage. But then if you look at like other Marvel TV shows or whatever, they've gotten good, but there have been some dodgy parts. But yeah, that truck scene was, especially when the dude, like, in theory it was cool when the guy like was on the roof of the car and then jumped onto the thing, but he just like looked like a fucking hot mess of blurry CG, and it was just like, well, that could have used a couple extra passes of layering, and yeah, there were some bits where I was like, that looked like shit.
Yeah,
to me I just thought that was probably the worst I've seen in terms of CGI DisneyPlus Marvel shows, because I watched Loki, I watched Wanda and Captain America. I didn't see there was obviously issues, but it wasn't so glaring. This was so in your face, like I recognized it right away, right? And
when the car fell off the side of the cliff too, it was just like, that looks like a fucking RC car that they just threw off. The physics of it were off, the gravity was off, like the movement, it was just not good. Like it wasn't that it didn't look like a car, it was just the movement. It was like my mind knows how a fucking car, how heavy it is, and when it falls off of shit, it's gonna go like this. But with that one, it was just like,
we've seen enough train wrecks and car wrecks to know what they look like, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And even the cars that were driving on the road there, they still look weird, look very not
the green
natural.
screening was well, it was lighting. It was just bad lighting, bad compositing. So I mean,
somebody's getting fired.
Yeah, I was gonna say it'll be We'll see it probably on Corridor Digital's bad CG maybe one of these days.
All right, so he basically comes from the vehicle runs out of gas or whatever it is. These guys, the bad guys, pull up in front of him, and they're about to unload the clips in his face. He turns on the wipers to protect himself.
That was good.
Massive tree logs from the aboves come down and just destroy these guys. And he wakes up.
Very poorly animated tree logs.
That whole scene could have been done much better.
Whatever production house they're
probably never going to do that again for Disney.
Yeah.
Disney's not ever going to hire them again. That was probably some Bollywood TV production place.
Hell no, Bollywood's way fucking better. You kidding me? You can see a guy axe kick another dude from space into a helicopter, then go through a Ferrari, and you're like, hell yeah. And not bat an eyelash of if that's possible or realistic. This was just bad.
Yeah.
Bollywood movies have some of the best fucking CG that I've ever seen in my entire life.
I disagree.
It's so good. Fuck you.
I strongly disagree.
It takes comic book movies to a whole nother level. The Western world doesn't know how to do fucking comic book fights at all. Bollywood is just like, we're gonna get a guy to become a helicopter, kick through a car, stop, then kiss a lady, and then fly off with another
and change outfits too, and
absolutely. And you're like, hell yeah!
With 10 other people to dance exactly the same.
See, yeah, and that's a good example of good direction and ways to mask bad CG. So when something's poorly animated, and you're like, whatever, we'll just put a bunch of smoke, make it fucking awesome, and then have an explosion in front of it, and then you'll hide it, and you'll be like, oh, okay, cool.
So he wakes up. Nathan, what happens? He wakes up and he's like, "Oh, I must have dreamt this all."
Yeah. It gave us for me, I thought, oh, I maybe he was dreaming. I'm sure there's no other indications that he wasn't dreaming. He checks the sand, he checks the tape. His leg's still tethered to the bed or to the post. Everything seems fine, except now. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but his goldfish grew a leg back. I have no idea why. He just were there any indications prior to that being around him, people heal themselves?
Yeah, I was confused by that too. Maybe he just, when he leaves, he destroys everything and then he replaced the fish.
Go back and watch it again. If you watch the beginning part again, the goldfish is actually swimming sideways. And how do I know this? Because I've had goldfish for my kids and they're about to die. That's what they do. They start swimming sideways. So what happened was when he left for his little adventure, that's when the goldfish died. So when because remember, Mark came back. It wasn't Steven that came back to sleep. Mark came back, went to the shop, replaced the goldfish. And
that's
then
why the lady was saying you were here yesterday.
Exactly.
That makes sense. See, for some reason I was thinking of things like Steven. I was just like, how did this get healed? And I assumed that had something to do. That makes sense.
Yeah, because when the goldfish was swimming sideways, I'm like, that does not look healthy. And I know this because I owned goldfish before, right? That's the only way I knew, because that's the sign that the fish is about to die. When it starts struggling to swim straight and it's just swimming on its side a little bit, that's when you know the fish is about to die. So I don't know what, obviously through experience I had it in my head, but then I clued in after when he's like, hey,
it was intentional. Then
I'm like, okay, the fish died. Mark replaced it with another one, and he noticed it, Steven, when he woke up, because he said, hey, Gus, how's it going? And then looks over and Gus looks different. It's not Gus anymore, right? So Mark does care, I guess. Mark really cares about Steven, right? Because otherwise, Mark wouldn't give a shit. So there's this respect inside that body for each other. Sometimes when you have split personality or different mode personality, they like to overtake each other for dominance, right? So immediately I'm thinking there's a healthy respect Mark has for Steven. Steven doesn't know fuck who Mark is right now. So there's no respect. But Mark does care about Steven, which is interesting, right? What do you guys' take on this? Like, what do you guys think? Same thing?
Yeah, I think because it was either that, like a kind of mutual respect and like, oh shit, his goldfish died, I better replace it, or it was just to get out, he had to like run as fast as he could through the wall or something, and then he has to like cover his tracks and clean everything up, and then he's like, oh fuck, I killed a goldfish, so I gotta get a new one. So he doesn't notice.
What do you think he doesn't want Steven to know there's a Mark? Like,
because
he's covering
I think
his
it's
tracks?
kind of, yeah, I don't know if it's intentional or if it, because I mean, if he's keeping him alive and keeping him in the dark for a reason, then is it because he has to, or is it because he wants to, because he knows that like he doesn't want this amount of him being the lackey of the moon god, he doesn't want that to be his whole life, or if he's obligated to because the guy that was chosen does have a split personality disorder, so he's just making the best of it, kind of thing.
I have a feeling that he's got a bit of a soft spot for Steven. He asked out the girl that Steven liked. Sure, he forgot that Steven was vegan and he invited her to a steakhouse. But that's just details for another time.
Mark likes steak, right? Mark's like, what the fuck? We're gonna go after steak.
Oh, I loved when he ordered the steak too. What type of steak would you like, sir? I had the best
the good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. What kind of cut, or how do you want it done?
Okay, let's talk about that. Like, okay, if you're a vegan, why would you order the steak? What is the reason why you order the steak? Is it to thank Mark?
No, it's because he was in shambles and he's like breaking down. His life has gone to shit, and he doesn't know what it. He was like almost in tears, and he's just like, yeah, the steak. Yeah, okay. Which one do you want? The good one? I don't know. Fucking just give me a thing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So he was pissed, and he's like, "Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna drown my swords."
Well, also, this is like maybe not the first time, because obviously he's taken all these precautions of making sure he doesn't leave his bed, so he knows this is happening. But like, this is, I think everything's kind of coming crashing down because he's like losing control of everything and also losing track of multiple days. So that was also too, is just like his grasp on reality and what his life is fucking in shambles. So he's like, it's Sunday. Oh, okay, fuck it, I'll have a steak. Okay, yeah.
So that's the other crazy thing, is like he's not even aware what day it is at all. Like to him, it's just like nothing happened. There's no skip, right? And along that process, he's alienated a potential girlfriend. He's gone to a pet store not even knowing what day and time it is, and the pet store lady's like, "You're a freaking weirdo. Get out of here." And his work, right? And can we also like I cannot stand that lady that works there.
Donna?
She just pisses
me off. She was great. No, she's great.
She pisses me right off.
No, absolutely. She's a terrible person. But I mean, in her defense, well, this dude who like never shows up, just disappears for multiple days, and then
couple of screws loose.
And he's supposed to sell merch to these kids, but then he's just always like in other departments, so he's useless. And she's probably been dealing with this guy for God knows how long, so she's just like,
Nathan,
she's had it.
Were you upset that he did not get the tour guide role and he just the selling of toy role?
It was funny. I was thinking, so my degree right now that I'm studying for is in classical archaeology, and I'm thinking this is exactly what most of the people that are getting my degree go through. They think they're going into archaeology, or they're gonna like give tours in a museum. Nope, they're gonna be selling merchandise at the museum.
Or it's like a guy who gets a music engineering degree, and then he goes to work at fucking Long McQuaid to sell guitar strings. It's like, I'm gonna work in a cool studio. No, you're not, bitch.
Anyone who works at Long McQuaid, we apologize.
No, awesome. You all went to Pavi or AI. It's not your fault.
But I thought it made him very relatable. Everyone's got ambitions. He wants to do something. He's excited for it. But the reality of it is quite crushing, and of course
she keeps denying him. She makes him do inventory.
Well, maybe if he shows up to work on time and gives a shit.
Yeah, maybe, right? Steven, just show up to work, okay, please.
Yeah.
What about okay, so the part that I wanted to talk about that we alluded to in the beginning was the gods. So he picks up a poster in the room, the inventory room, and tells her that, hey, it says 7 gods here, but there's actually 9 gods in the I could hear Nathan just shaking his like 9. What are you talking about? It's like 9,000.
There's a lot.
But the main gods, I guess, shall we call it? Can we say that, Nathan? They're the main.
Yeah, so it's
the upper echelon.
It's kind of strange that we look at like ancient Rome, Greece, and Egypt as if there's a main pantheon of gods.
Yes, pantheon, the 9 pantheon, right?
And I think like what's his name, Rick Riordan, the guy who wrote Percy Jackson, he kept saying there's a 12 main gods, and sure there are 12 big ones, but really gods,
the titans, right?
Yeah, but really in the ancient world, there's no set religion, especially in Egypt. There was no comprehensive, this is the whole religion. It's kind of bits and pieces here or there.
Hearsay, yeah.
Yeah, and so having kind of 9 central gods, that's certainly that's one way of seeing it. And I think there were those 9 gods were kind of a group. Unfortunately, I don't know the 2 that were missing, just because the poster didn't quite make it clear of which all 7 there were. But if I had to guess, I'm guessing Khonshu is 1. And then perhaps...
Well, no, I don't think Khonshu would be in the top 9. I think it'd be his father, Atum. It would be... Who else? I had a list somewhere, and I forgot to bring it with me, but...
Well, I'm thinking...
They're called the Enad or Enad?
It starts with an E. It's like Enad.
Yeah, Enad. Ennead, right? Or the Great Enad, right? That's what they're called. And what I was alluding to earlier was they had in the MCU they have one of the gods that looks like a Black Panther. And no, not the Black Panthers in the real world. I meant the actual Black Panther. And apparently that's supposed to be connected to the Black Panther lore. That's how they are connected in terms of the god, right? And apparently this panther is a female and is somehow related to Khonshu. So there's a connectivity here that they're indirectly building, I guess, up with the god tier levels, because there's gods in the MCU, then there's gods, capital G gods above them. Eternals, whoever you want to call them, right? There's different tiers of gods in the MCU. Thor is a god, but he's not like a high-ranking level, powerful god. He's sort of the smaller gods, right? So I think that's
he's a god in
one of the realms, not the overall realm.
Yeah, a god as in he's eternal, or he's immortal kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so they had Osiris, Horus, Teefnut, fucking Shu.
Nathan's just shaking his head. Did
you say
SHU? I don't know.
It sounded like you said teeth nut.
No.
Tefnut.
Yeah.
TEFNUT. I like
D's nuts.
D's nuts. How am I supposed to pronounce Tefnut? It's like Teflon, but it's almonds. Those are the only ones I can see.
Is it
Osiris? I know that one.
Covered almonds.
And Horus.
Nathan, do you want to pronounce?
I'm reading the poster. Get off my balls.
I can probably do a better pronunciation. Let me.
I hope so.
You absolutely can.
I hope so.
But I must say that was extremely amusing. So there are different sort of different sets of these 9 gods. So Atum, Atum. So you see, he's the father, his sun god. So he's associated also with Ra, and he's the sun god that I'm very
that's his other name, isn't it?
Ra.
Yep.
That was the thing that always confused me.
Amun Ra. So it's weird. Yeah. Amun and Ra are 2 different gods that were later on became the same god because they were worshipped together later. Shu.
And that's a good example of like a lot of ancient religions and stuff that have multiple deities, is that because there's no set in stone, this is the dude, this is the other dude, and this is the other dude, it's a lot of different, like, this town or this group of people called it this, and then, you know, over 100, 200 years or whatever, they just, like, amalgamated into a bunch of other things, and then some in certain sects kept the old ways, and then that broke off into another fucking thing, and
Yep.
people are just fucking dumb and don't know how to...
well, I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't say dumb.
Communicating's hard back then.
Believe it or not, in India, there's 40 dialects within that country, right? That means almost every province has a specific way of speaking that is different from the neighboring province. So to give context here, that's like BC has a language and Alberta has a different language.
I can't understand anyone fucking saying anything from Toronto.
So it's like a different world somewhat. It's for some people when they travel to another province in India. So that also goes with religion too, because Hinduism is the largest religion in India by far, the most practiced. But within that religion, the gods that they worship have different names. And I learned this through my trek to India when I went there. I'm like, what, who is this that's, praying to? And they're like, oh, it's this guy. I'm like, no, his name is that. They're like, no.
Yeah.
That's his name here. I'm like, oh, okay. And then I find out from another province that his name is totally different.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's the same thing with, you're mentioning, Nathan, it's the same idea. The names are different, but they are the same, right?
Yep.
So Amin Ra, okay, so yeah, Amin and Ra, they became one, and which happens to
the
be
brother of Teeth Nut or whatever.
Tough Nut, yeah.
We're gonna create a god ourselves, These Nuts. We'll make a t-shirt.
That'll be our new NFT.
Oh man, These Nuts NFT.
Get a couple Bevs and Justin and start pronouncing Egyptian gods.
He's got a pharaoh hat.
And then it's just the beer can holder thing.
That is so awesome. Let's get that going. Where's our friend D? He could definitely make one of those for us. D's nuts, the god. Anyways, so sidetracked. That's what we do here, folks. This is what we do. We're just getting started. This is only the first episode.
Welcome to Popcorn Chicken.
Yes. That's right. Get your popcorn chicken up, baby. Where was I? I lost track of where we were.
Nathan was talking about all the gods.
Oh yes. Sorry, Nathan,
no worries. I'll rush through them except for the ones that might be brought up later. Tefnut, Geb, Nut, Osiris. Osiris is a big one. Osiris is related to kind of resurrection and death.
That's why there's a lot of black metal bands named after him.
Oh, really? Is there actually?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
He was torn apart, and his wife Isis, no relation to the other group that we know.
There's also another a lot of hardcore bands called. There's a really fucking good band called Isis.
Are they called that because of the goddess though, or are they called that for a different?
Yes.
Okay, good.
They were around in like the 90s.
How about that awesome band called Oasis?
Oasis.
Yeah, they can suck my balls.
But Osiris.
How did I know? How did I know that when I say that you would not? Anyway, sorry, Nathan.
No worries.
We're so immature. We apologize for that.
But Osiris was put together. You know, all body parts were put together except for his genitals.
Oh, what? Whoa.
Okay. No, we're not brushing over this.
Time out.
Why?
What did you say? He's missing his genitals?
Yeah, so...
No, he's reconstructed.
Bro?
He's a Frankenstein.
God.
He's a Frankenstein except for his bollocks. Why?
So that's one part. I'm trying to find what animal ate them.
This gets better.
Oh, fucking hell.
Do we need to talk about Moonknight anymore? We just want to talk about this.
Well,
though.
I have a feeling he'll be brought up because he's related to death.
Yeah.
Let me quickly find this.
Okay, while you're trying to find that, I apologize to anybody who tuned in to get a breakdown of Moonknight, and we have tried our best, but you know when things
don't
like
apologize. This is what it's about.
Yeah, but when things
Tangents.
like this come up, we need to dive deep into these things.
This is important. This is why you watch, for the hard-hitting facts.
So if you're here for entertainment, you're welcome. If
you're welcome.
If you're here for reviews,
no, fuck that.
No.
We brought an expert. We brought an expert.
Yes, we did.
This is the only place that you can watch
with an Egyptian expert,
Egyptologist.
Yes.
On the board.
Yes.
That's what your business card says, right, Nathan?
Egyptologist. I don't know if it says that. I'd say archaeologist.
The founder of nuts. Founder of Egyptian nuts. Anyways.
All right. So where were we?
I tried to stall for you.
Well, one quick thing to note. I mentioned Isis. She's a goddess of magic. Quick side note for her. And then we've got Nephthys. I think I'm saying her name right. We have Set, the brother of Osiris. He's kind of evil. He might pop in here or there. And Horus, who is son of Osiris. And Horus is the one with the falcon head. He's depicted in tons of Egyptian
very popular
imagery.
Popular.
Yeah, very, very popular. So that's kind of the rundown of the main 9. And they can be interchanged at times. There's a lot of major Egyptian gods, but those are kind of the ones that are most popular, I think, with kind of modern culture. What was our original point? We were going over the gods, but I can't quite remember.
So the original point was he noticed there were 7 in the poster, but there's supposed to be 9. And I think there's that's basically foreshadowing something that's going to happen down the road here. And there is in the trailer, there is a scene where you see him in the tomb with other gods around him. So I'm thinking Khonshu takes him to another playing field here, where they're stuck, where Khonshu is stuck. And that's our way of knowing or learning about what Khonshu is doing, what he's all about. So they're going to show that eventually soon. And I think
Side note.
Yes.
Oh, no, you go. Finish your thing.
I just think that the gods that he's mentioning or he's pointing out are going to show up in that tomb area altogether, right? I just think that's the reason why they're mentioning that part.
Yeah, they made a point of saying 2 people have been left out.
Yeah.
So those are going to be, I think, fairly important ones. But I was going to say, I really enjoyed the trailer that they made, or the trailers, pretty much used scenes from episode 1. Almost exclusively. Like I would say 80, like the video that we put out on Monday or today or yesterday, whatever. Anyway, this episode really spoke to me because I also don't know what fucking day it is ever. And
did you wake up with a strap on your leg?
No.
Don't answer that. Don't answer that.
But yeah, so the video that we put out, kind of just talking about the brief history of getting into, the first episode and what you need to know or whatever. The 2 trailers that I used while I was editing it, it was mostly scenes from the first episode.
And go check that out.
I thought, I thought
listening.
the trailers were really good. They got me interested. Like I heard of Moonknight and I've known a little bit about it, and I think I've read 1 or 2 of the things of it years ago, but they had enough intrigue and mystery and action or whatever that I was like, oh, this will be pretty cool. And then not Brandon Isaac, that's
Oscar Isaac.
Musician. Oscar Isaac. Oscar Isaac is awesome, and I'm excited for this. And yeah, after watching it, I was like, oh, cool. That most of it was pulled from this, so they've still left a lot of what's going to happen kind of hidden, which is nice.
Yeah, I'm happy about that because you don't want a trailer to show you everything, and then you're just not entertained or even surprised. So I'm glad they're holding a couple of things close to the vest, right? Nathan, you gonna say something?
No, I was just looking at Dio there.
Dio? The Egyptian
He
goddess.
also watched it.
The Egyptian god. What's a dog in Egypt?
Anubis, the jackal.
There you
Anubis.
Anubis.
And I'll be bringing that up a bit later too tonight.
Okay, cool.
Ooh. Oh yeah, that's right. Because there's a dog that tried to fuck him up.
Yeah,
at the
I
end.
think that may have been Anubis, but later.
Really?
I think it's a werewolf.
A werewolf?
Yeah. Yeah, because then Blade shows up next episode.
Well, Blade is
Wesley Snipes out of nowhere.
He's part of the.
Yo, if Wesley
Midnight
Snipes
Suns.
shows up, I'm gonna fucking lose my mind.
He's not showing up. Stop.
Would you not? Like, would this not be the best show ever? If just
Yeah, but then what's the
Wesley
point
Snipes?
of having? What's the point of having the other gentleman who signed on, Mahershala Ali as Blade?
oh, sorry. Okay, I forgot that they cast a younger version.
Yeah.
All right. Wesley Snipes 2.0, whatever. Anyway, if Blade shows up, my mind is blown.
Yeah, somebody's mic is echoing, and it looks like it's Justin's.
Mine?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I have headphones.
That might
Why
be
is it?
mine.
I can hear the echo.
It could be
Yeah.
mine. May
Uh-oh.
turn my volume down. That may fix it.
Yeah, there you go.
It's like, I got in-ears, motherfucker. It's definitely not me.
Rookie move. It's all right. We forgive him.
These Alienware headsets. I get this all the time with Discord.
Justin, make sure he goes home on the weekend with some proper equipment. We'll have it ready for him. We'll have it ready for him. All right, so he is he back at the museum? He's back at the museum, right?
Well, no. Before this, he goes home and he finds the cell phone in his house.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, he notices some marks on the floor and he moves his table over, right? And then he looks up and he sees one of the panels in his roof sort of pushed in. And he pushes through it and gets a Motorola. What was it? What's it called? Motorola Razr.
The
right?
Motorola Razr.
Yes. I remember having that phone. Wow.
I did not. All the rich kids that I was friends with had them.
Motorola Razr. And how old is this phone then? Hold on.
That's
This
a
is
good question, actually. Was this just used because it was a burner phone and it was
Yeah.
like whatever, it only needs to make phone calls? Or has this been going on for 20 years at this point or something?
Oh, good point.
He was
Yeah,
a
'cause we
CIA
know, but-
agent though, so maybe he's used to kind of that kind of tech that's a little harder to trace.
Burner.
Yeah. Yeah, well, then it'd be a BlackBerry. Come on. It wouldn't be a fucking Motorola.
Well, it could be anything that's not a smartphone, right? This is the last gen of
True.
before
Yeah.
they jumped into the.
I remember, yeah,
smartphone.
BlackBerry was just because the security was so good, but maybe it's like at a point
Yeah.
now that because it's not a smartphone, it's untraceable.
It's analog. That's what it is. It's an analog phone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he picks it up.
Did you notice
and
the background on it?
No.
I did not notice it. What was the
It was a
background?
crocodile.
Oh.
That is awesome. That is awesome. That's so cool. That's
So-
an Easter egg if it was, right?
So yeah, there's a crocodile on the phone that he found, and there was a name. There were two names. So there was the
Deschamps?
girl,
Deschamps and
Yeah.
what's it called?
Layla,
Layla.
or whatever. Was it Layla? Yeah. It was Layla, and then Deschamps or whatever.
Yeah, Deschamps, yeah. So, but he called Deschamps once.
Yeah.
Layla
And the rest he just no. Well, that was all missed calls, I think. So Deschamps called him once, and then Layla called him 1,000 times.
I'm interested in the Deschamps person.
I googled it.
Okay, do tell.
I forgot. John Paul Deschamps. It's a Marvel database. He's a fucking French guy, French soldier, who he befriended mercenary Marc Spector.
Oh, never mind. I just read that part in the comic books. Yes, he used
And
to
he
work with
fought alongside Raoul Bushman.
them. Yes.
He led the raid in the Egypt-Sudan border.
Yeah.
So
Basically he was one of the soldiers in the mercenary group.
And he flew Moon Knight's helicopter. Moon Knight apparently has a helicopter.
As all Egyptian mythological figures do, they all have helicopters.
Yeah.
So he finds out, and then the phone's ringing, and Layla says Mark, and he's like, "Who the fuck's Mark? Like, what?
Yeah.
Who?"
What's with the accent?
Yeah.
Apparently, people in Europe are making fun of that accent. They're like, it's not that great. I don't know. People in Europe, obviously, they would know.
Oh,
better
probably,
than us.
absolutely.
We don't know. We have an accent of our own that they laugh at, right?
Yeah, it was good. His accent was good enough to not take me out of it. He was consistent with the area that he chose, at least, or the because like it was. Yeah, and again, it really just seemed like a Martin Freeman impression, which I mean worked for him, and again, it didn't take me out of it. There's a lot of Western actors that do go for a British accent, and it's just not good enough. Where it's like, I know that that's not how you talk.
But I mean, you can also say that this is not supposed to be. Steven is a secondary character, right? So
there's a good loophole.
Yeah, so you can forgive him for a shitty British accent.
Yep.
Right?
Because it's not even his real accent.
There you go.
He's double acting.
So things are getting a little bit weird now because he has someone telling him, Steven, you don't want to do this, right? And this is where Mark is trying to communicate with him through the mirror. He goes to the bathroom, opens the mirror, and then you see that. Didn't that trip you guys out? That tripped me out.
When he started shaking his head,
it tripped me out.
They did some really good. The cinema, apart from the garbage CG, which was plentiful, the cinematography was phenomenal. There were some really beautiful shots, and even like just little small things that you could just see, like, oh, I know what the camera person was trying to do there, where like there was the statue that he's walking behind that was like half cut out, and then you could see the person who was holding the camera just move over slightly so it would just get his face, and it was like, yep, okay, I see you, I know you did, that was good. But there were just like really cool little things like that made it really apparent that they cared about, you know, the presentation of it, and there was a lot of really, really cool shots.
Awesome.
As long as they didn't have CG in it.
Yeah.
It was not good.
All right, so you see him struggling to figure out this. Books have fallen down, lights are going on and off.
Oh,
Nathan, do you want to take us through that part a little bit?
Yeah, so it's kind of strange. It's almost as if Khonshu was, well, we did get to see him soon. He runs into the elevator, and as the doors are closing, we see Khonshu down the hallway, and Steven is terrified. And that scene was,
that's crazy.
I laughed so hard though, as soon, because at first you're tense, it's scary, and then all of a sudden the old woman's there, and she's just like huddled in the corner.
Like she got mummified too, right?
And I loved how it didn't just play it off as like a joke for the audience. Like, she clearly saw how scared he was, and she's like, this guy's unstable, I gotta get out of here. And she made an excuse to leave. I thought it was great.
And even just like him trying to play it off of like, oh, I lost my contact.
yeah.
I hope you find it. Because a lot of the times in like a lot of these types of movies, they'll have somebody acting fucking insane, and then the people around them are just like oblivious to it. And it's like, no, motherfucker's on the floor looking at you like you are Satan, and you're just fine with it? No, fuck that. And she's just like, I gotta get out of here. My friend's here. She's expecting me.
It's great to have that.
I'm coming.
It's great to have that actual balance now, where someone's scared, and we get to see other people react. But also, I thought it was a great transition from that scary moment to a comedic one without ruining the pacing. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, it was very that is the thing with a lot of the jokes in it. It was very natural comedy. It wasn't forced, and it wasn't like Disney's got a fucking problem with, like, you know, especially Star Wars, where they're just like, all right, here's a fart joke, and you're like, oh, fuck, okay, whatever. And where it's just like forced in because they're like, kids are gonna watch this, right? We gotta make it funny. And they did a really good job of they did a really good job of, because I mean, you know, in tense and scary situations, funny shit happens, and whether or not you react to it as it's happening to you, in retrospect or as a third party, it would be funny, and they found a really good way of showing that.
I'm just thinking here. Why is Khonshu so against having Steven show up? I mean,
because he throws the gun. Because he's fucking useless. He can't even hold a part-time sales job.
I think at the end of this series, you're gonna see Steven actually prove Khonshu wrong, that he has a purpose, that there's a reason why he's there in that body, and he's gonna make a difference because of his background in Egyptology. I think that's what's gonna come into play. I think that's where he's gonna say, yeah, see, because of my brain, you motherfuckers, I was able to help your dumbasses through the situation, not just through violence and superhero powers, but you need to have brains as well to get through some situations. And I think that's where I'm thinking at the end of the series, that's when Khonshu and Marc will respect Steven for his abilities, right? That's what I'm thinking. I hope this happens, but if it doesn't, then he's just a dumbass, right?
Yeah, I mean, at the end, they do kind of... I really like the pacing of this first episode.
Yes, I absolutely love it
because, like, beginning to end. How long was it? Like 45 minutes or half hour?
About 40. It wasn't that 44 long. Minutes or so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Typical.
Also, there was no end credits thing.
Yeah, they don't do it. Usually, do with Marvel TV shows, they'll do it after 4 episodes in.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So, you know,
but the pacing was phenomenal, I thought, because again, I know very little about this series, and I wasn't in the dark really for anything, and the parts that I was confused about was intentional, I think, from them, and there wasn't a lot of things of just like, oh, if you knew who this was, you'd be impressed. It was just like, this is the bad guy, this is the good guy, he's confused, shit sucks. And you're like, okay, yeah, all right. And even then, at the end, you're just like, oh wait, is he the good guy? Oh, okay, I don't know. And then tune in next time. It's like, well, I will, all right.
Yeah. I could, agree with you more. Like, I just think that the way it was done, because typically, with WandaVision, for example, it took 3 episodes for it to get going.
Yeah.
The first 2 episodes were a complete waste of time.
I watched the first 2, and that's all I watched.
Oh God!
Should I watch the full season?
Yeah.
Is it worth it?
Yeah. Well, it was way better than the first 2. The first 2 episodes were garbage. It was just complete garbage. Yeah, I would. If I were you, I'd watch episode 4, 5, and 6, and call it a night. Right. That's it. Yeah, 3 was somewhat okay, but 4, 5, and 6 are all you need to watch. But yeah, so that was because the rumor was, and we talked about this on the Monday Weekly, there was rumor that they're going to release 2 episodes for Moonknight because they were worried about the pacing. They were worried because you can always get Marvel fans to watch your shows, but it's the other general audience that you want to capture as well, right? Because that's what sets your ratings high. So the rumor was that they were afraid that the first episode wasn't going to be fast enough or paceful enough, or give him enough information for the general audience to latch onto. So there was a talk about 2 episodes, but it turned out they stuck with 1 episode, and I think it was a good decision at the end of the day. I mean, obviously I want to watch more episodes as fast as possible, right? But yeah, I think it was still good enough because, like I said, my wife watched it and she liked it, so my kids watched it, they liked it, so I think it was good enough to pull other people, general audience, to watch it. You guys are not huge Marvel fans, but you guys obviously liked it, right?
Yeah.
So they're doing something right, I guess, right?
Yeah. Okay. Do you think they should have shown Moon Knight in his suit?
Okay, so let's touch that in a second here. Let's just talk about the near the ending part here. We see Ethan Hawke's character Arthur show up at the museum. We see all the friends that he had in the museum security staff. They're all part of Ethan's. I keep saying Ethan, Arthur's.
Yeah, right. Except for the main security guy at the front door who's watching the auto videos. What did he kept calling him? He kept calling him a different name.
I forgot what it was.
It wasn't Steven, but he kept calling him the same name.
Stevie?
Do you think that's another? Huh?
I thought he was calling him Stevie or something. Nickname.
No, it was a different name. Oh, what am I doing? I have the show pulled up here. He kept calling him a different name, and then he kept correcting him, and he was like, "No, it's Steven with a V." But where is it here?
Was it Rick?
It was something. Okay, here it is. JB mate, Scotty. He kept calling him Scotty.
Scotty, okay.
Do you think that's another one of his personalities?
No, he doesn't have. So he has another personality in the comics where he's a playboy, right?
Yeah.
And I can't remember the name now, but it wasn't Scotty, I think. But yeah, he does have another personality. I'm also thinking that the reason why they stuck with 2 is not to confuse the audience with too many personalities, because they're not. I think
2 is a good starting point. Yeah, absolutely. You can grasp easily, like, oh, there's a good guy and a bad guy.
Yeah.
In his brain, kind of thing, or
so
whatever.
He also has another hero persona, Mr. Knight, right? Where he wears a mask, white mask, but he has gloves and a white tuxedo.
Yeah, and it's got like the moon symbol on it. And,
so that's another personality of his, and he's sort of like the detective cop helping type of guy that the police force trusts, which is so weird. A guy dressed up in that outfit, and the police like totally trust him. Yeah, but Batman, no, nobody trusts that guy, right? Which is, I guess, maybe it's a play on making fun of Batman, because Batman is not trusted by the police that much, right?
Well, and it's the Dark Knight against the Moon Knight.
Yeah, and they obviously have ripped off that style from Batman, right?
The Caped Crusader. Yeah,
exactly, right? Working in the nights and the shadows, but you're wearing white. How much shadow can you work in, right?
Yeah.
So we have that scene where Arthur is asking him, "Pass me the what did you call it again, Nathan?
The scarab.
The
Garb.
But
Scarab.
Scarab, and then we actually see the hieroglyph. Is it the wall? What is that?
In the bathroom or whatever?
No. When he approaches him in the museum, remember?
That is a paint that's painting on plaster, and that plaster. So it's on a column. And they've put plaster up and painted it, and then over time the plaster is just chipped away in sections. So he's just pointing out a figure there.
Can you tell me if that's a real image? I'm not saying it's real artifact, but I'm saying is that image realistic to what the ancient Egyptians portray that character as, or is that something MCU just made up?
Yeah, I'd say that's realistic. It's I'd say it might be a little big,
little bright.
Do you know what? Surprisingly, in the ancient world, they used a lot of colors. They painted
it's very bright,
like all the white statues that the Greeks are famous for. They were all painted.
Yeah,
every single one.
Yeah, yeah.
They even had eyes.
That's one thing. Yeah, blue eyes, green eyes, right?
Yeah. So they look pretty realistic, I'd say. Although just a little large.
Yeah, and he mentions that the scarab. I'm never gonna get this right.
Scarab. There you go.
Is there's a little hole there in that statue or that painting, and is that where it's supposed to go, or is that just a chipping off the wall?
To me, it just looked like it was chipped off, broken.
Okay, because it just looked perfectly centered for it to go in there, right? At the same size and everything. But I like the fact that they showed what she looks like, so you can give people an idea of what he's talking about. And so he basically runs off, and Arthur's like, "Yeah, let him go. It's okay." And we're like, and I'm just sitting there going,
"Well, he tests him. He does the thing."
Oh yes, sorry, yes, you're right. Yes, yeah.
They don't show it. Yeah. They don't show it. So he kind of walks up to him because, again, like, what's his name? Mark. Mark doesn't really know, or no, yeah, Steven.
It was Steven.
Doesn't really know who Ethan Hawke is or what he's doing or what's going on or whatever. So he's just like talking to him, and then he because he's seen him do this to people and he knows what happens, but like he kind of stealthily like grabs his hands and like puts the cane there and starts flipping it, and it goes back and forth, and then there's like this dong, and then he looks down and looks up at him. He doesn't fucking die, and then he says, "You have a lot of chaos in you," or something. So is that to say like nothing happened and it's just like it didn't go green or red?
I think it didn't go green or red because there's God inside him. The Khonshu's controlling that. Khonshu's not letting that decision be made. Because Khonshu is a god, I think, so that you can't determine the soul is dead or alive, can it?
Or it's going on taking all of the multiple personalities,
and it doesn't know, right?
It just goes to nil, and it's just like, this guy's fucking Hitler, this guy's fucking Gandhi, and it's like, I don't know, and so it just like left him at nil.
Speaking of
that, yeah, that was right.
Speaking of that, I'm glad you mentioned that because I totally forgot, and I wanted to touch back on something that I talked about. The Arthur character in the comics, because he was a Nazi. It's interesting how he mentions Hitler could have been avoided if we had, weighed him, right? It's interesting. I just found that very interesting because when I did my research on who Arthur was in the comics, when I heard Nazi and then when I heard Hitler, I'm like, hold on a second here. Is that coincidence or is that something that's going to be played on later on where they do find out he's Nazi and he was just like fucking around and saying Hitler for the hell of it, but in fact he didn't give a shit, right?
Or is he like so demented in his judgment that he's just like, Hitler was the bad guy, but he was doing it right kind of thing, and he's on to the whole like eugenics thing and all that shit, and that's what he's doing essentially.
The cleansing of the world.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's literally doing that, like judging them on the spot because of future shit that they might do, but he's just like, fuck it, I don't like you and you have a weird nose, so get the fuck out of here.
The Minority Report.
I thought they might be doing something a bit like Thanos, where they tried to make Thanos like, oh, he's a bad guy, but do you remember people were actually thinking we should just kill half the population? That's not a bad idea. We'll save resources, and people were like justifying it. I think maybe they're trying to do something similar, distance himself from being a Nazi, make it sound like he's more like, look, I'm presenting this reasonable plan. I can purge the world of everyone that would do something evil.
When was Moonknight made? Like the original comics? Because that you got to take into account too. Because like, hold on, let's look it up.
Well, while you're looking that up, I do want to mention
Moonknight comic.
I want to mention one thing. Nathan, maybe you can back me up on this in terms of Moon Knight's. Sorry, not Moon Knight's. Ethan Hawke's character Arthur, or not Ethan Hawke's character Arthur, the Amet, the goddess. Do you think that he's twisting the actual story of her to get his way and become this revered disciple of the gods? Because obviously he loves the attention, he wants to be the leader amongst the earth. Do you think he's twisting the story, or is the story somebody else at play here twisting him into thinking that she wants everyone to be judged?
I think there's a chance that he might be kind of like the opposite of Moon Knight. He is her kind of I don't want to say incarnation, but
avatar.
He's her avatar, and so he's kind of doing her work and her bidding. Her general kind of background fits what he's saying pretty well. He may have an ulterior motive, but so far he's kind of chicken out.
Okay. Because I just wanted to know if he's making this shit up just to kill people and have people fear him and revere him, right?
No,
I'm just wondering.
Not yet, but
is he a smaller scale Thanos?
I think they might play him off a bit like that.
Yes.
So Moon Knight first appeared in 1972. So that might be just a product of the writing of the time, because 70s it was like, it might not have been like he's a Nazi. It was just, he's a bad guy. Mm-hmm. So here's what we know of bad guys. Nazis. Those, and then it's like, okay, it's a bad guy.
Yeah.
So it was essentially just like, all right, he's either a Nazi or a commie, because those are bad guys. So it might have just been that, and now they've taken some artistic liberties with that. But I do kind of really like the idea that he's still kind of, like, the fact that they brought up Hitler actually is a really interesting choice, because he is essentially judging people and killing them or letting them live because of past and future things, which is absolutely like a cleansing of the human race or whatever thing. So I think it's, I don't think that, actually, and ironically, as you mentioned before when we were like, is that Anubis or is that a werewolf? Moonknight first appeared in the comic
Werewolf by Night.
Werewolf by Night. So.
I got it all here.
I have the internet.
Yes. Yeah, Werewolf by Night, but I want to kind of say it's Anubis or an Egyptian werewolf or something, or Egyptian dog. I think. Well, we'll find
pretty
out.
Lanky.
Did it have hair
to be
on
a
it?
fucking god.
Yeah, it did.
Oh, it did?
Yeah, it did.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looked kind of slimy to me.
Yeah, it was like kind of slimy and hairy, and it looked like a coyote version of a werewolf, if anything.
Wile E. Coyote.
Because it was like super lanky and like malnourished and
malnourished.
yeah, dude, it looked fucking hungry as shit. So it looked like just like
it had to eat
attack
souls.
dog.
It was eating souls.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the ending is he's getting chased by this werewolf or Anubis, whatever you want to call it, and he ends up in the bathroom locking himself in, and
That was a good scene.
Oh, arguably one of the best
really
scenes. Well.
I also liked how he didn't have a reflection in the other mirrors.
Yeah, that was good.
He walks into this bathroom, it's lined with mirrors, and shit starts shaking, the dog's trying to get in the fucking door, and then there's all these like hieroglyphs and shit on the wall that are appearing through light and stuff and pulsing. And then he looks over and Mark's talking to him, and then he looks over and he finally sees him, and then you see Oscar Isaac talking, not in the Martin Freeman voice, and then all of the other reflections, because it's mirrors, there's no other people. So himself and also the reflection of Mark aren't reflected in either, which I guess is kind of a subtle thing of just like, he's fucking dead. So like he doesn't exist in either form.
But you see Mark saying, hey, give me control because I can deal with this shit. Just calm it down. Hand me the reins here, right?
Yeah.
And at that point, I'm like, all right, here we go, right? Like this is what I've been waiting for. And then you see them panning to the hallway, and you see the sink fly out the door. And
then the dog trying to get out,
he's
and
like,
him dragging it back.
Help me, right? I'm like, oh
Yeah.
damn. And then he's just like, come back here, bitch. Right? Takes on the ground and just like pow, pow, a couple of shots to the head, and then it's like gone, right? It's done.
Now here's the thing. So that suit is all CG. The cape is also CG. Those are all fabric simulations. It's all done in CG. That was really good. Because I knew it was all CG, and I was like, the rest of it's been garbage. And I stared at that cloak when he was moving around, and like I could tell it wasn't real, but like I was staring at it to find any discrepancies, and it was, well, so like obviously that's where most of the budget and rendering time, because I mean, if you pull the curtain back a bit, you have an office that is filled with a bunch of other teams working on other movies and shit, and then they have like a warehouse full of just giant fucking NASA computers, and then you have to literally book time and be like, all right, for these 12 hours, I need to render out this scene, or I need to render this scene, so all this water and explosions and blood and all these particle things, I need to render this out. It will take 16 hours. I need to book it for this time. So different productions get priority, obviously, for if they have more budget. So if a production doesn't have as much budget, it will only allot you only get 10 hours to render this. So then they go, okay, well, now I need to have less particle effects and less explosions and shit on this scene because we only have this amount of time.
Yeah.
And I think that they spent more time on this scene because it looked really fucking good. And also it's a really important scene of the first time you see his his cloak and his outfit.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that's what I was asking before. Do you think it was a good thing that they showed the outfit then?
Yeah. I also loved how they changed the way he puts on the outfit, because in the comics, it's not a living thing like Venom. You know, Venom has that it engulfs him, right? So in the comics, he actually is a technology that he creates and puts on the suit himself. This is a living thing. It's like a living, breathing thing that, you know, covers him up.
Yeah, it's not like a Stark.
Yeah, and I really like it.
Outfit
I really like it because it's like an Egyptian mummy coming to life, right? It's all getting wrapped up. Nathan, what did you like that?
Oh, I loved it. What I especially liked is it didn't just kind of like appear on him. You can see the bandages wrap up around him, and that looked great. I thought it didn't look like fresh bandages either. If you actually look at it, it looks a little old, which adds a bit to that mysticism.
Dirty and stuff.
It is very well done. They thought that out, and of course, one of my favorite parts of that scene that we haven't mentioned yet was how it was a bit realistic in this. Well, of course, it's not realistic, but while he was still transforming and getting the suit on, he was attacked. He didn't have time to just suit up and then stare and have like a badass moment. Like, no, he was getting the bandages still wrapped up on him, and then all of a sudden, boom, he's taken down to the ground by the dog. And at first it seems like, oh, I guess he's lost, but obviously we know, no, he's about to kick some ass.
Then the bathroom sink flies out. Like, all right.
Yeah, the fact that the dog's trying to get out of the bathroom, and he's got things under control.
And I especially love how his fighting style too. It wasn't like some
very vicious and violent.
It wasn't some super quick attack. It was hard hits. It was aggressive. It was.
It wasn't like Shang-Chi or something like that, where it's like all martial arts and smooth skills and all that, right? Which is cool in its own way. But this was just like,
it was just very visceral.
Alley, ass whooping,
punch,
kicking, you know, to the ground, face, curb pounding, whatever you want to call it, course dropping. That's all it was. It was just like, how do I decapitate this body real fast, right? Because he's wasting my goddamn time, and I need to get onto the next big thing. That's why you see him turn around, the eyes glow, which I think is fantastic. That eyes glowing, really sets it apart, right? And he's going after somebody, and I'm assuming it's Arthur, right? Because
I didn't even think of what's gonna happen next, because this motherfucker's got blood, and now he's dead. He's still in there.
You just
episode 2 is just gonna.
You just sent Anubis after a god. You best believe that god's pissed now, right?
I didn't even think of like, oh, what's gonna happen next?
And I was like so pissed when they rolled credits. I'm like, no, I gotta wait a whole week.
But it was a good like, it was again back to the pacing of it. It was a good buildup of confusion, storytelling, like kind of letting you know who Arthur is, who Steven is, the situation there, and I really like how they didn't, because they could have. The story hits that they did, this could have been 4 episodes. They could have taken their time for a full episode of just like, here's this guy who works at a fucking museum. You're like, oh, he's so lovable. He's bumbling idiot. Oh no, he's got some sleep things. Weird. And then episode 2, it's, oh, now he's waking up and it's weird. Oh no, oh, he's in the Swiss Alps. Oh no. And then episode 3, it's, oh, you killed a guy. Oh no. But it was just like, no, here's the bits. Let's go. And now it's just like, oh yeah, by the way, he's a fucking god. And you're like, okay,
I would have been annoyed.
Episode 1 done.
I would have been annoyed if the entire episode was all about Steven and his work at the museum.
Sure.
I've been like, I'm out. Like, what is this? I don't need to see a whole episode of this. So
Disney has had a problem with pacing though. Yeah. So I was not. Yeah. I wasn't expecting this amount of information, and I was
pleasantly
pretty concise.
I was pleasantly surprised, and I was happy that this is the direction they went. They went right in, hardcore. Give us a little.
Who's doing this? Feige's doing this?
Yeah, he's the executive producer behind it, I believe. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Who directed this episode?
I do not know. Justin. I'm sorry, Justin. Nathan.
Yes.
What did you think of the the idea of the way they paced it. Overall, what do you think of the episode in terms of the direction they went?
I was very happy. The pacing was great. The choice of focusing on Steven rather than as Marc Spector was a very good decision. Marc Spector, he's the stereotypical, he's the badass, he's the CIA operative, he's a mercenary, or was a mercenary, and then he got these powers after he died in the desert. If we saw that origin story, or if we saw his reaction to those events immediately after, I don't think it would have been the same. It was nice to have someone that the audience could relate to, someone that he was kind, he was a little bit silly, a little quirky. He had some funny moments, talking to himself, things that people do. And you get invested in him as a character. And they managed to do that very quickly, to get you to like him, to really think, to hope for the best for him. And then when these bad things start to happen, not just the sleep, but also the girl getting mad at him, you really feel bad. You feel like it's a kick to the gut. But it also builds up that mystery, and so the audience we see things through his perspective, and that's perfect because the audience kind of is Steven. People are quirky, people get confused, bad things happen. It's not always this, Captain America rise up, and then there's a stumble, and then you beat the villain. No, there's weird steps, there's confusion. There's a lot of complicated situation with this character. And they built it up to have these two great moments. The first big moment was when he finds Arthur in this little Swiss village, and we really get to see the impact that this villain's going to have on the future. We get to see that he has this sort of cult, and then the next big moment, of course, we have is that chase in the museum, the quick chase that turns into an ass kicking, and I think both those moments were built up to very well. And they had a very satisfying result, except for the CGI, of course, and with the truck rolling over and all that. But I can look past that. I thought the story was very good.
Yeah, me too. I'll forgive him for that because the way they ended it was great.
Yeah.
Right. All the other things there were more positives than negatives in the show, which is what you always want, right? And then the end result is it going to be a good show? If you have more positives than negative, it's obvious the show will be good then. I just thought of something.
The director.
Sorry, go ahead.
The director is Mohamed Diab, who is an Egyptian writer and director.
That's
he
nice.
hasn't done much Western cinema. He's written and directed a few TV series out of Egypt. So
well, that's pretty big.
That's pretty cool.
Egyptian cinema is used throughout the Arab world. Egypt's kind of like the pop culture and pop center for everything. So that's got a good amount of experience.
Yeah, he did a few things I've heard of: Footsteps of the Devil, Clash, Renegades, The Island. I don't think I've watched any of them, but I've heard good things about a few of those.
So I just have an idea here. You kind of when you were talking, Nathan, it kind of made me think something funny here. Because he has personalities, does that mean he can date different people? Because Layla is one girl that's probably for Mark, and then Steven's got this girl that he's been courting at the museum. So, is he cheating if he dates both of them? Huh?
Yes,
That's
in this in this context because he isn't aware of it.
Okay, Nathan.
Yeah, I think that's not a good scenario to be in. It is kind of like it is obviously. It is kind of like two different people with
they are
two different people with the same body,
just sharing a body.
And I think Mark hasn't reached out to Layla for a while, so who knows? Maybe it's over.
But Mark is the one that set him up with this one.
Yeah, so I think no. Layla's the one that was calling on the phone.
No, I know that. I understand that. Layla's obviously someone important, but is Mark doing is being the player here because Mark's already got Layla, and Mark's the one that set Steven up with this girl.
I think Mark's doing this because he wants to be nice. He bought Steven the goldfish.
Is it, or is Mark trying to be a player?
Here's the real question: is so Mark and Steven are dating multiple people. The real question is Layla banging twins?
Well, there had to be two people to be twins.
It's two people.
You think Steven's gonna just
that's
wake
right.
up and
We
be
just
confused?
exactly. What if he wakes up half between
It
that?
has to be two bodies to be
Fine.
valid, right?
There, we've now set the rules.
Two bodies. That would be a
Oh my
complete
gosh,
twin.
I can imagine kind of what Justin's saying. Just they're in bed together, and all of a sudden Steven wakes up very confused as to what's going on.
Okay, but here's the question. Let's say Steven wakes up in the middle of it all. Does Steven continue?
No, he's not. I think
he-
he's the sort of person that would freak out and run out the door.
Yeah, a normal human being.
Okay, let's flip it around. If Mark wakes up in the middle of it all, does Mark continue?
Yes.
You bet your ass Mark does, because Mark's a man. Mark's just like, all right, let's keep going here. What if Conchi wakes up?
No.
She dies.
Yeah, she's dead.
Yeah.
All right. Is there? Okay, let's give it a out of 10. Let's give this episode out of 10 here. What say you guys? Justin, what do you give it out of 10?
9 out of 10. It would have been a 10 if the CG wasn't fucking garbage.
Nathan?
Because yeah, the story pacing, the action, the acting, the story, I think it was a amazing first episode. The only thing that took me out was the CG.
I really liked it. I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10, just because of the CG. When the truck, when I saw that truck, I just
So the
like
CG was that detrimental to your score?
I still loved it, but when I saw that in my mind, I didn't move past it pretty quickly. I was thinking, this looks like it was designed in 2006.
Yep, it looked like a CW show. Like it was fucking bad.
Yeah.
Like it was like Supergirl or whatever the fuck. Like it was not good.
Yeah, so it would
Yo, it was bad.
It would have been a
DC
9
Legends
if
of
it was
Tomorrow.
Yeah, it would have been a 9, but that CG, that specific moment, that truck, it was a little disappointing to see that they didn't invest that extra time to fix that up.
Okay, so you're nailing them bad because of CGI. Okay,
It's an A still.
Yeah, no, I didn't say your
Yep,
score is
absolutely.
bad, but okay. I'm probably gonna go with 9 out of 10. For me, 9 out of 10. I give that 1 point, like Justin said, for the CGI, but everything else makes up for it. Even can we not? We didn't even talk about the score, the sound effect, and the music. Well, we touched on it a little bit, right? But
Music was.
how about the scene when he turns into Moonknight and all the other orchestra music that they play? I think that was really good. It built up excitement.
Notice. Yeah,
I noticed it.
Honestly, I honestly like I literally watched it 15 minutes before we started recording this, so I don't remember any of it. Which isn't to say it's a bad
definitely
thing.
recommend watching it again because you might.
I will.
That's the thing.
I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that a good soundtrack just sits in the background and lets you enjoy the scene, and
it blends in really well.
It blends in, and it's another layer of here's the lighting that we used, here's the camera angles that we used, here's the emotions that they portrayed on their face, here's the writing, and then here's the music in the background. I think it's a puzzle piece that when it's done well, it doesn't stand out. Sometimes there's other shows that are like fucking phenomenal, and you're just like, shit, this is a banger. And the only parts that I really remember are like when Wham was playing, because I was like, this is funny. And yeah, but so I don't think it's a bad thing, but it didn't super stand out to me.
Yeah, well, I think adding Wham, some of the songs I loved, but the only songs that I loved were the ones that I actually remember from outside of Moonknight. I don't actually remember what the actual soundtrack for Moonknight was, the songs that they made for the show.
Yeah.
I can't remember that at all. I only remember
Yeah.
Wham.
You remember Big
Yeah.
Pimpin'? I can't believe you didn't remember Big Pimpin'. Go
Well, you
back
said
and
that they
watch.
remixed it, so they didn't have like they
there's
just had
no
the
there's no
instrumental
voice.
or whatever.
It was just instrumental remix. They just kept repeating that main chorus instrumental part. Just kept remixing.
I don't even
that.
remember the theme or like the credits because I watched the credits all the way through. I don't remember.
So
did it
you
have
guys,
a theme? I
did
don't
you
know that
what?
Marvel really does that though.
Well, the credits
In
actually
general.
the credits actually showed a couple of clues. There was one part in the credits they
I
showed
did see bits of those.
a glowing doorway.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you guys noticed that in the credits. If you get a chance, go watch it. And what I'm thinking is that's the doorway to Khonshu's existence playing field.
Ooh.
So I think that doorway is going to have where he's going to walk through that doorway, and Khonshu's going to show him why he's doing what he's doing and what's the purpose behind it and where he's actually resides from, right? So I'm thinking of that. And then it also shows a close-up of his wrappings of Moon Knight's costume. It shows a close-up of what it looks like. So you can check that out too. So there's some details in there, which is pretty cool. It's interesting, right?
So this isn't the MCU technically, right?
No, it is. It is. It's hard.
It is?
Dead center in the MCU, yeah.
So it's the same universe as the rest of the shit.
Yep.
Okay.
And what they're trying to build is, I believe, a Dark Avengers.
Yeah.
That deals with like demons and vampires and werewolves.
Well, they
things
tried
like
to do that before. Well, not Marvel, but the
No, that was
what
Fox.
it?
That was Fox.
The Duke. No, Dooku. Was that what it is called?
Dooku from Star Wars?
Hold on. No, not DUKO or DUKU. It's DUCU, and it was the Dark. Oh,
Are you thinking about the DC universe? Constantine?
No.
Oh, Constantine's great. I love that.
That's DC. That's DC.
Okay, what? Yeah, but I'm saying that like they've tried to do a dark comic universe, and was it Dooku Dark Universe? Here it is. Yeah, it was like the Mummy, Invisible Man, Frankenstein, Van Helsing, Dracula, and all that shit.
That's from a different universe. That's from
well, yes, yeah, it is
Universal Monsters.
Yeah, Universal. That's right. Yeah, because it was like the Mummy.
Yeah, they tried to make
technically,
it
and they were trying to do that. It
failed.
Didn't
it failed.
Fucking go anywhere, but like
it was terrible.
I mean, they're essentially trying to do that now. They got some Mummy shit. They got fucking.
Well, the idea is
Blade
the idea is to bring these guys together, the Midnight Suns, right? It's to bring Blade, Ghost Rider, Moon Knight, and Black Knight together. We've already seen Black Knight appear in Eternals, and at the end credit scenes, that voice is Mahershala Ali, who's going to be Blade talking to Black Knight. So I'm
so excited for Blade.
So there's two right there. They're connected, and then you have Moon Knight. The only one left is Ghost Rider, and there's actually an Easter egg of a flaming ghost in the episode. You guys go find it.
This episode?
Yes. You guys go find it. Go find it, and we'll talk about it next week.
Okay, I will. Now, and they haven't done any releases or any information on Ghost Rider or anything. I really hope they don't have Nick Cage.
No, they don't.
It'd be odd for this.
Yeah.
You've done maybe in the Doctor Strange MCU movie, so who knows?
No, but like they haven't released any casting or anything, have they?
It has been a Ghost Rider in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. TV show, but that was not.
Nobody watched that.
That was not Johnny. That was another Ghost Rider, because this Ghost Rider had different writers, right?
Iterations. Yeah.
So they had this one.
That's the one thing that a lot of Marvel stuff is good at, or was good at. And I'm sure that all the writers and directors and people who are involved now are just like, thank Christ they did this. Of just like, oh, it's an entity, it could be anyone. And they're like, fuck, thank God, now we can put, if this one failed, like Spider-Man they're just fucking so happy that they got like
options,
different dimensions and shit. Yeah, because they're like, oh, if a movie fails, we can just fucking get another guy in there.
and it was so smart of them to not use the main Ghost Rider, the most popular Ghost Rider in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., because they would have just thrown that away. And they were smart. They thought of ahead. They're like, no, we're not going to give you the main one. You can use the other Ghost Rider in your TV show. And if nothing happens, who cares? No big deal. We can always.
But that being said, they've used like the TV, like Matt Murdock. They used him in the new Spider-Man.
Yeah, but
they made it when it's goods,
well,
they'll keep them.
Well, same thing with Kingpin, right? They want to keep it's a Vincent D'Onofrio. Yeah. Vincent D'Onofrio is Kingpin.
He is Kingpin.
He is, 100%.
Yeah.
And so what they said was they're going to keep these main characters like Charlie Cox and Vincent. They're going to keep them as those two characters because they were so beloved and they did such a great job. Why go and create a whole new Daredevil and Kingpin when these two could just do just fine? We'll just say, hey, it's an alternate universe that doesn't exist anymore. This is a new universe. That's why they made him wear different outfits. Kingpin, they wear a Hawaiian shirt, right? Just give that little break from what he was wearing in Netflix Daredevil. So yeah, and then also there's Charlie Cox is reprising his Daredevil in Echo, the DisneyPlus TV show. He's gonna appear in there, and it's an all new outfit as well for him, more comic book accurate.
Yeah. Well, I mean, how many Flashes and Silver Surfers have they gone through at this point too?
Silver Surfer is one of my Silver Surfer is one my favorite.
I know.
And I'm dying to see him in action, and hopefully in 2025 I'll see him, because that's what Fantastic Four is going to be in its main heyday. So hopefully
it'll be good this time.
Don't jinx it.
Yeah. All right. Shall we wrap it up for today?
I think so.
Anything else? Nothing else? I'm looking forward to episode 2 badly.
Hell yeah.
Like,
how do you okay? How do you think it's gonna start? Do you think it's gonna start fucking balls to the wall, just him like fucking up shit?
I think he's going straight after Arthur and going, "Where the fuck are you? Come out here!"
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna
take that cane and beat the shit out of you. That's what's
they
happen.
set a pretty good precedent and like a good cliffhanger of just like the action just started and they're like, here's the credits. Okay.
I feel like they might tease us though. They may just have him like the second episode starts and then he wakes up as if like like one of those blackouts.
Oh, please don't say that. I don't want to see him wake up again.
You know what, Nathan? I think I agree because he let him take over, but that might just be an artistic thing of just like, okay, now you get to see what happens when he blacks out. I agree. I think it just how a show is built. Generally, you don't start usually episode 2 him beating the shit out of things and it's a huge fight scene and with the villain or the antagonist or whatever. So I agree. I think that he'll probably just wake up and then maybe not remember any of it or go right to the cell phone again or something. Or I
do want to mention one thing. I think he might there's something that you guys didn't see outside the museum. Do you remember the part when the museum is shown from the outside and the lights turn off?
Yeah.
Did you notice the moon?
Yeah. It was almost a new moon.
It was a crescent. So Moonknight's powers are based on the moon. The smaller the moon, the weaker the power. So if it's a full moon, he's full on powerful.
Yeah.
If it's a crescent moon, he's not that powerful.
Okay, so how long is a new moon cycle? Is that maybe why, or a full moon? Because that's why he lost 2 days, is because he had 2 days of full power. So now that it was like the crescent and it was about to be a new moon, that's why he was just like, all right, I'm gonna, instead of just like when the wolf was walking around and the antagonist was there and then he didn't just immediately take over, maybe that's why he was like, you need to let me because I don't have enough power to fully take over. I only have enough in the reserves to fuck up this wolf, and that's it. Or
hey, hurry up because the moon, it might be going away, or daylight's coming and I might not have that power.
Yeah.
So who knows? I mean, we'll find out more about him and how the MCU changes stories around. They tweak things around, right? So we don't know if they're going to stay true to the comics in terms of his powers. They might make some exceptions here and there because it'll be kind of weird that he's useless during the day as a superhero.
Yeah, that's a pretty 90s or 80s thing of just like giving them a power window.
Yeah, so we'll see. All right, okay, let's end it right here and then we'll jump back in next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. But we might go live. Who knows? We'll see. We have a couple of other friends that want to jump on next week, but we'll see how it goes, and we'll announce it on Tuesday what our intentions are. Nathan, you can maybe announce it on Tuesday what our episode 2 is going to be, live or pre-recorded. But we, whoever's listening to us and watching us, we hope you enjoyed our Moonknight review and then some. And we'll bring back our Egyptian etologist specialist, whatever you want to call him.
No, that's
Dr. Egypt.
Yeah, I'm putting in lower thirds, and I'm gonna have fun with it. I assume I'm editing
Dr.
these.
Egypt Nathan.
Dr.
Right?
Egypt.
Oh my gosh, make me sound like
Dr.
a
Pyramid.
supervillain
Dr.
or
Pyramid.
Yeah.
Dr.
Mr. Pyramid Head.
Dr. Crocodile Hunter. He is from his family is from Australia.
It's not a knife. That's not a moon knight.
Anyways, that is the end of our show. Thank you everybody for listening and watching us. We appreciate it. Wherever you are in the world or universe, have yourself a good morning, a good day, and a good night. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Dios say bye. Later, Gators.
Oh, that was adorable.